What's up, losers? Today I'm back with my first r/am I the asshole video in a while. My priorities have been elsewhere recently. But when I saw a couple of the posts on my front page today, I couldn't resist. So here we are. This is episode 8 in the Am I the Asshole series. And I'm excited to check out these stories. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first post of the day is by user Fickle Life 9867, and it is titled, Am I the Asshole for making my sister-in-law feel like shit about her weight?
35 female, and my sister-in-law is 46 female. I have 3 children, the oldest being 16 male. For my birthday last week, my son went out and bought me this swinging hammock chair that I had been wanting for 2 years, and it cost him quite a bit of his saved money, which I fully intend to put back into his bank account so he can continue saving. He was so excited to see me open this gift and couldn't wait to help me set it up. I told him he shouldn't have, that it was a lot of money, and his response was, "You never get anything nice. I wanted you to have it." And it was true. I usually don't get anything for my birthday or Christmases outside of Tupperware or soaps, so it might sound stupid, but I have cherished this swing ever since he got it for me. Especially where I finally have something nice that's mine. My sister-in-law comes over once a week to see all of us, and she immediately headed straight for my swing, which my son hooked up on our deck. I told her to please not sit on it, and she said, "Is there a weight limit?" So I told her yes, 250 pounds, and I even showed her the box to confirm. She was not upset about this. She just said that's a bummer. They need to make something capable of holding us big girls. I simply agreed with her and went about my business. At this point my husband shows up from work. When I went inside to grab us some drinks, her and my husband are talking on the porch, and not even 5 minutes later, I hear a loud crash, and my husband say, "Frick, are you alright?" I go out, and sure enough, she had sat in my swing, and the crochet netting around the hook snapped on one side, causing her to fall right on her ass. She is sitting there laughing, gets up and says, "I guess I need to learn to listen." So I lost it. As I said above, I literally never get anything nice. Never. This is the one thing that I had that was mine. And it didn't even take someone a freaking week before they ruined it for me. So I said, "I literally just freaking told you, not even 20 minutes ago, that it would not hold you, and to please not freaking sit at it." She makes some comment about, usually the weight limit is a lie. I thought it would hold. So I said, the weight limit probably would have held if you were only 50 pounds heavier than it, not 150. She is 420-ish pounds, because she is one of those girls who eat food on camera for money. And she absolutely loves her weight. But regardless, instead of apologizing or offering to compensate me for my destroyed item, she has resorted to saying I'm a sheetbag for making her feel like her weight is a problem. And my husband is on her side. It's just a freaking swing. Am I the asshole?
Good lord. OP's husband is siding with the sister-in-law. The fricking sister-in-law. You've got to be kidding me, is he on something? Even setting aside the whole question of where his loyalties ought to reside, I genuinely don't see any possible defense of the sister-in-law here. She's so clearly in the wrong, that if they went to court over it, the jury would only need like 5 minutes to deliberate. Because there's just so little doubt over who should be apologizing to whom. But just in case I'm somehow remembering things incorrectly, let's go back over the record once more, shall we? OP receives a really thoughtful, heartwarming gift from her son, and cherishes it accordingly. She instructs the sister-in-law not to sit on it, which is her right, given that the swing belongs to her. And if that weren't enough, she went so far as to provide proof to the sister-in-law that she was far too heavy to use the device according to its specifications. The sister-in-law unambiguously agrees not to sit on the swing. And then when OP's back is turned, she brazenly goes ahead and does it anyway. And, surprise surprise, the swing breaks. All you can do now if you're the sister-in-law, and you have even a shred of decency, is sincerely apologize, and take accountability for your selfish actions. Because regardless of whether you thought that the swing should have been built stronger, you knew that it wasn't. You acknowledged it, and you knowingly went behind OP's back. It's a seriously shitty thing to have done. And it's something that I would be pretty livid about if I were in OP's position. Is it unforgivable? No, but it's bad, and a sincere apology is the very least that I would expect. But what does OP's sister-in-law decide to do instead? She laughs about it, and then when OP rightly calls her out on her BS, she decides that actually, OP needs to apologize for making her feel bad about her weight. Because of course she does. Right, you'd think breaking the swing would have been enough to make her feel bad about her weight. But since she doesn't care about anyone's feelings other than her own, it's only when she's getting criticized that her weight becomes a sore point. Give me a break. I don't know if OP's sister-in-law would identify as a fat activist. But she's sure got the attitude of one. Instead of acknowledging that the issue at hand is entirely of her own making, she habitually resorts to a position of assumed victimhood. Never mind how patently absurd her positioning herself this way is, when one weighs up the actual facts of the case. If that isn't a fat activist special, then I don't know what is. Haha. As a final note, I don't want to focus too much on the sister-in-law's weight as a point of criticism, because the real problem is her behavior and her attitude. But I can't not point out that 420 pounds is freaking huge. Like, the idea that anyone could be that large and, quote, love their weight, is absolutely astounding to me, and it really speaks to the way fat acceptance has rotted people's brains. Being that obese is going to mess you up really badly, and take years, if not decades, off your life. This is all but a certainty. And it is far from a laughing matter. She can make light of the problem, or shift the blame onto OP, or hammock manufacturers, or fricking gravity itself, all she likes, but it's her life that she's flushing down the toilet. So regardless of how obnoxious I might find her, at least from how she is described in this post, I hope she gets her sheet together sooner rather than later, because at 46 years old, there's really no time to waste. Oh yeah, and for my verdicts, OP, not an asshole, sister-in-law and husband, assholes, big time. The second post is by user throwaway 445,997. And it is titled, Am I the Asshole for asking my boyfriend to edit the caption on his Instagram post?
Throwaway for privacy. Last week we were at his niece's birthday party. A few days later, he posted a picture of them with the caption, My most precious princess. For info, when we got together, I asked my boyfriend if he could call me princess. And for 3 years, he always exclusively did that. I told him that I had no problem with the superlative, because his niece is literally the most cutest and precious. But I asked him if he could change the word princess to girl, or any other word he wanted. He said, in case I forgot, his niece was literally wearing a princess costume, and that's why he chose that word. I don't think that by request is too much, because it's not like I asked him to delete the post or anything. But his reaction made me feel like an asshole.
Oh my god, does it get any more embarrassing than this? Because I'm really struggling to imagine it. She's literally getting jealous of a child, and a child relative at that, and trying to exercise control over her boyfriend's social media, so that the world will know she's his real princess. Unbelievable. To be completely honest, I find it cringy enough that she asked her boyfriend to call her princess in the first place. Like, it'd be one thing if he had come up with the pet name himself, and she just took a shine to it. But by the sound of things, it was her idea from the start. So not only does this woman want to be treated like a toddler, but she also views relationships not as something to be naturally developed and allowed to blossom out of spontaneity and mutual attraction, but as a project for her to obsessively micromanage. Boyfriend doesn't take the initiative to give me the pet name I want. That's okay. I'll just tell him what to call me. Boyfriend posts something I don't like on social media. That's okay. I'll just take it down. Whatever the problem, she's going to have the solution. And you'd best believe it involves telling her boyfriend what to do. Because that's what healthy relationships are built on. Right, size. Honestly, I don't know where the boyfriend finds the energy to put up with this shit. Because it sounds exhausting to me. It'd be one thing if he were like posting pictures of himself at a strip club or something, but literally all he's doing is hanging out with his child niece at her birthday party, and that's enough to get his girlfriend's jealousy and insecurity going into overdrive. Maybe OP is a great girlfriend in a bunch of other ways. And maybe she brings stuff to the table that we, as outsiders with minimal information, simply cannot know about. But reading this post, all I can say is, I sure wouldn't be putting up with this shit. Life is too short, and there are too many other women out there for me to subject myself to such needless drama. So to the boyfriend, who sounds like a good dude, from the minimal information we have available, I hope she's worth it, buddy. I hope she's worth it. Final verdict. OP is the asshole. And it's not even close. Oh yeah, and as an aside, what on earth gave OP the idea that people on Reddit were going to side with her in this situation? Like, she's obviously in the wrong, and borderline deranged in her jealousy. That only someone with very serious issues of their own could possibly think that she had a point. Yet she still rocks up to r/am I the asshole? Apparently totally oblivious, and expects the thread to back her up. Wild. Man. Just wild. The last post I'm going to check out today is titled, Am I the asshole for ruining my friend's night out? Over comments made about my wife. Let's get into it.
My wife, 27 female, is the most amazing person I, 29 male, have ever met. She is brilliant, hilarious, gorgeous, kind, appreciates me, always makes sure I feel loved and cared for, is sexy as hell, and I could go on forever. She's my best friend, and the love of my life. Now, when I say she is beautiful, I mean it. She is ridiculously pretty. Everywhere we go, men stare at her. She is constantly getting it on. She's pretty oblivious when people are hitting on her. But when she does figure it out, she shuts them down quickly. I've never once worried about her cheating, because that is not who she is, and she would never do that. I'm not ugly by any means, but I would say I'm definitely average. I have no idea what I did to deserve someone as amazing as my wife. But I sure as hell won't complain about having the most amazing partner in the world. I'm nowhere near my wife's league, and people definitely let me know it whenever they found out we are together. I get that look that's like, really? This guy. Sometimes people will just flat out say it, too. They'll tell me she's way out of my league. I must have a lot of money. She makes more than me, etc. It's really annoying, but usually I'll just deal with it. I'll also have to deal with a lot of comments about how gorgeous my wife is from other men. Like, to my face. Anyway, we were at the bar with my friends, and one of their coworkers who I've never met before. My wife ended up leaving early, because she remembered she had an appointment in the morning, but told me to stay and have fun. After my wife left, the coworker started making comments that I found really inappropriate. It started with usual, like, what is a woman like that doing with a guy like you? I can handle things like that. They annoy me, but I'm used to them. Then he started saying things like, I bet you have trouble handling a woman like that. I bet I could frick her better than you. And more. I was furious. He was completely objectifying and sexualizing my wife. He was being disrespectful to her. And to me. The comments were disgusting, and I was honestly a little angry at my friends too, because they didn't say anything. I blew up at the guy, and we started arguing. I told him he was a disgusting pig, and to frick off. He told me I was an insecure little bitch, and so on. We kept arguing, and I was starting to see red. So I removed myself from the situation, and went home. As I was leaving, he was saying she'd stay and be a real man. But I was done. I just wanted to go home, and lay next to my wife, and forget about the whole thing. I woke up to several texts from friends, telling me I was an asshole for leaving, and I ruined their night. They told me I blew things way out of proportion. I would ask my wife for her opinion, but I know when people say things about her like that, it upsets her, and rightfully so. I would rather just not upset her, and keep her and me away from that jackass. Am I the asshole?
Man, this one just makes me sad, for a whole bunch of reasons. The most obvious is that OP's so-called friends are bottom-of-the-barrel trash. Like, standing by and doing nothing when your friend is being treated like crap right in front of you is nothing short of a betrayal. And to message him the next day, moaning about how he ruined their night by going home, just makes it clear how little remorse these guys have for their awful behavior. And how little they value OP as a human being, let alone a friend, and that's really damn depressing. The way the coworker behaved, in insulting OP, sexualizing his wife, and trying to start a fight, is obviously reprehensible too, but given how over-the-top terrible the guy sounds, I don't feel the need to belabor the point. There are some real assholes out there, and that guy is most certainly one of them. It just is what it is. What really made me sad, on top of the way his friends behaved, was OP's mindset around the whole thing. Don't get me wrong, OP did everything right. He stood up for his wife as best he could, and responsibly extricated himself from the situation before he did something that he would go on to regret. In all respects, his conduct was admirable, and I am glad that he was composed enough to just step away, where lots of guys would have let things get physical. The thing that's sad about it, though, is how he is only able to express his discontent as a defense of his wife. When, as far as I'm concerned, it's totally legitimate to get upset over being called ugly, undesirable, or weak, even if you're not defending a woman's honor. I feel like a lot of guys have this ingrained sense that they aren't allowed to speak up on their own behalf, because doing so represents an admission that you have been wounded by what other people have said. And this goes against the masculine ideals of indifference and stoicism that so many men strive towards. In reality, of course, men do feel emotions, and there is nothing wrong with expressing them. It is a perfectly natural and healthy part of life. It's sad to me that OP has internalized this idea that his girlfriend is out of his league, because he's a valuable human being just like anyone else, and nobody deserves to be told, over and over again, that they are unworthy. It's sad to me that when he was being subjected to gross, humiliating verbal abuse, his first instinct was still to defend his wife's honor, and not his own, and it's sad to me that even though he is clearly cut up about this, OP refuses to talk to his wife, because he doesn't want to burden her, even though marriage is supposed to be about sharing the burden, and overcoming challenges together. So yeah, all in all, this post was a rough one. OP's friends and their coworker are all giant assholes, whom he is better off without. And I hope that he is doing all right, because I'm sure it must suck having to go through something like that, even when you know you did the right thing. Well, on that rather gloomy note, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed these posts, and that you got something out of my commentary. What do you think? Is it reasonable to sit on a hammock that you're 170 pounds too heavy for, despite being expressly told not to? Is it reasonable to be jealous of your boyfriend calling his child niece princess? Are you still someone's friend? If you would stand by as they are insulted, then blame them for going home. Who was the biggest asshole in each of the posts? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll get my heaviest friend to go and sit on all of your most prized possessions. Then blame you when you get upset about it. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.